3:47 a.m. The night sky over southeastern Poland holds no warning. Radar stations across NATO's eastern flank track routine traffic cargo planes, commercial jets, the predictable rhythm of peacetime. Then, at 4:16 local time, a single contact appears on the screen at Rzeszów Air Base. It moves too fast. The trajectory is wrong. The signature is unmistakable. An operator's hand freezes over the alert button. The contact accelerates to Mach 12. From detection to impact, there are 87 seconds. No time for confirmation. No time for diplomacy. No time for anything except the stark realization that the unthinkable is now inevitable. The missile descends over Zamość, a city of 63,000 souls who sleep without knowing their world has already ended. The warhead detonates 2,000 feet above the city center. The yield registers at 240 kilotons, 16 times the force that destroyed Hiroshima. A white-hot sphere expands at the speed of light, vaporizing everything within a kilometer. The flash is visible in Kyiv, 350 kilometers away. The shock wave levels buildings for 5 kilometers in every direction. The sound arrives later, a rolling thunder that shatters windows across 3 countries. In that fraction of a second, 41,000 people cease to exist. They do not burn, they do not fall. They simply convert from matter to shadow, their forms etched onto concrete that no longer stands. Another 120,000 suffer injuries that will kill them slowly: burns, radiation sickness, crushed trauma from collapsing structures. The electromagnetic pulse wipes out every electronic device within 80 kilometers. Cars stop mid-drive. Hospital equipment flatlines. Cell towers go dark. Europe wakes to a world it was promised would never return. The first reports are contradictory. Social media floods with unverified footage mushroom clouds. Panic. Darkness. Official channels remain silent. Governments scramble to understand what their censors already know. At 4:19 a.m., the Polish emergency alert system attempts to activate. It fails. The grid near the blast zone is gone. Backup systems trigger, but the message is simple and unhelpful. Seek shelter immediately. NATO's crisis protocols ignite across the continent. The Supreme Allied Commander Europe receives confirmation at 4:22 a.m. Article 5 consultation procedures begin within 8 minutes. An attack on one is an attack on all. But attacked by whom? Russia's strategic forces show no signs of mobilization. Their radars would have tracked the missile too. Early telemetry suggests a launch origin near Kaliningrad, but the data is incomplete, corrupted by the EMP. By 5 a.m., the Polish government evacuates Warsaw. The president, prime minister, and key ministers board helicopters that disappear into the pre-dawn gloom. Destination classified. Parliament dissolves without a vote. Martial law is declared by text message to military commanders whose phones still function. In Brussels, the NATO Secretary-General convenes an emergency session. No cameras, no press. The room fills with men and women who have rehearsed this moment 1,000 times but never believed it would arrive. The United States raises DEFCON to level 2. Nuclear bombers scramble from Barksdale Air Force Base. Submarines slip beneath Arctic ice. Missile silos across Montana and Wyoming go to full readiness. The President addresses the nation from an undisclosed location at 11:47 p.m. Eastern Time. His face is gray. His words are measured. We are determining the source and nature of this attack. We will respond appropriately. Remain calm. Calm is already a memory. By sunrise, European highways are rivers of metal and panic. Fuel stations run dry within an hour. Grocery stores are stripped bare by 9 a.m. Cash becomes worthless when ATMs refuse to dispense it. Credit cards fail when payment networks overload. In Berlin, the government activates Cold War-era bunkers that have sat empty for decades. In Paris, metro stations transform into improvised shelters. In London, the Thames Barrier closes for the first time in a non-drill scenario. Radiation begins its silent drift westward. Prevailing winds carry isotopes of cesium, strontium, and iodine across Poland's farmland. Geiger counters in Lublin, 90 kilometers from the blast, begin to scream. Dosimeters clip to belts and pockets, their readings climbing into the red. The Polish Radiation Emergency Center issues evacuation orders for a 150-kilometer radius. 3 million people are told to leave. There is nowhere for them to go. Refugee convoys form spontaneously. Families pack what they can carry and join the flow westward. The roads become choke points. Cars run out of fuel and are abandoned in place. People walk. Mothers carry children. The elderly are left behind, too slow, too weak, their faces watching from windows as the young disappear down empty roads. By midday, the Polish-German border is closed. German federal police erect checkpoints and turn people back. The radiation is coming. They cannot let it in. By noon, the blame begins. Russia issues a statement denying involvement. Their foreign minister appears on state television, face pale, voice tight. This is a Ukrainian provocation designed to drag the world into war. We have launched no such weapon. Ukraine responds with fury, calling the claim an obscene lie. The United States releases satellite data showing a missile trajectory originating from a military complex near Kaliningrad. Russia calls it fabricated. The information war is immediate and total. Deep-fake videos flood the internet, Putin confessing, Biden ordering strikes, Zelensky pleading for calm. None of it is real. All of it is believed by someone. Trust evaporates. Every government statement is questioned. Every video is suspect. In the absence of truth, fear fills the void. By 6 p.m., the first fallout readings are detected in Slovakia. By 8 p.m., in Czech Republic. By midnight, in Austria. The plume is invisible, but measurable. It carries particles that will remain deadly for decades. Governments issue iodine tablets. Supplies run out within hours. Pharmacies are looted. People smash windows to take what they need. Police do not respond. They are home with their own families, swallowing pills and sealing windows with tape. The first night passes without further strikes. This brings no comfort. The silence is worse than the explosion. Every air raid siren that sounds is a false alarm, but the panic is real. People huddle in basements, listening to radios that broadcast nothing but static or emergency loops. Stay indoors. Avoid contaminated areas. Wait for further instructions. The instructions never come. The second day begins in darkness. Cloud cover from the blast ash, smoke, and vaporized material blankets the region. The temperature drops 5 degrees. The sun is a pale disk behind gray haze. In Zamość, there is nothing left to burn. The fires have consumed everything combustible. What remains is a landscape of rubble and glass, silent except for the hiss of Geiger counters wielded by soldiers in hazmat suits. NATO convenes again. Intelligence reports are fragmentary. Russian troop movements are detected along the Belarus-Poland border, but they appear defensive, not offensive. China calls for restraint and closes its embassy in Warsaw. India recalls its diplomats from Moscow. The United Nations Security Council meets in New York. Russia vetoes a resolution condemning the attack. The United States walks out. Inside the Pentagon, war planners present options. Option 1, a proportional nuclear strike on Kaliningrad. Option 2, a massive conventional assault on Russian military infrastructure. Option 3, economic isolation and cyber warfare. Each option is a door that cannot be closed once opened. The president listens. He does not decide. Not yet. In Poland, the death toll climbs. Hospitals in Krakow and Wrocław overflow with radiation victims. The symptoms are uniform nausea, vomiting, hair loss, bleeding from the gums. Doctors know what comes next. Organ failure, immune collapse, death within days or weeks. There are not enough beds, not enough morphine, not enough body bags. Makeshift morgues are established in school gymnasiums. The dead are wrapped in plastic and stacked in refrigerated trucks. Refugees continue to flee. The Polish-Ukrainian border becomes a corridor of desperation. People cross on foot, carrying children and elderly relatives. Aid organizations set up camps, but the scale is overwhelming. Tens of thousands arrive daily. There is not enough food, water, or medicine. Disease spreads quickly: cholera, dysentery, respiratory infections. The camps become zones of slow death. By the afternoon of the second day, the European Union activates its civil protection mechanism. Member states pledge aid, medical supplies, decontamination equipment, emergency shelters. But logistics collapse under the weight of demand. Airports are closed. Roads are jammed. Rail lines are contaminated. Supplies sit in warehouses while people die waiting for them. In the United States, panic takes a different form. Grocery stores are emptied. Gun sales triple. Survivalist forums crash under traffic. Misinformation spreads faster than official statements. Rumors of additional strikes, of Russian submarines off the coast, of sleeper cells activating. None of it is confirmed. All of it is repeated. The president addresses the nation again, urging calm. His words are ignored. Financial markets remain frozen. The New York Stock Exchange does not open. The FTSE, DAX, and CAC indices are suspended indefinitely. Bitcoin surges and then crashes. Gold becomes unobtainable. Currency exchanges close. The global economy, built on trust and connectivity, seizes like an engine without oil. By nightfall on the second day, radiation levels in Warsaw reach unsafe thresholds. The remaining population is ordered to evacuate. 2 million people are told to leave the capital. There is no plan for where they will go. The roads are already gridlocked. Fuel is gone. Public transportation has stopped. People walk. The elderly collapse on sidewalks. Children cry for water that no one can provide. The third day arrives with no resolution. NATO forces are now fully mobilized. 50,000 troops deployed to the Baltic states. Air patrols over Poland are continuous. Fighter jets scream overhead every 15 minutes, breaking the sound barrier, rattling windows that are already shattered. Submarine-launched ballistic missiles are readied but not launched. The world stands on the edge of total war, held back only by the thinnest thread of restraint. In Moscow, the Kremlin issues a warning. Any attack on Russian territory will be met with full retaliation. The statement is broadcast on state television, radio, and emergency networks. It is translated into 40 languages. The message is clear. If NATO strikes, the world ends. In Washington, the same calculus is made. If the United States does nothing, NATO collapses. If it retaliates, humanity collapses. There is no good choice. Diplomatic channels remain open but achieve nothing. Phone calls between leaders produce only accusations. You did this? No, you did this. Intelligence agencies dissect the missile fragments recovered from the blast site. The serial numbers are traced to a production facility in Votkinsk, Russia. Russian officials claim the numbers are forged. American officials release audio intercepts of Russian military communications. Russia claims they are fabricated. The truth is unknowable. Trust is extinct. By midday on the third day, civilian casualties exceed 200,000. The number is an estimate. Accurate counts are impossible. Entire towns are unreachable. Radiation makes recovery operations suicidal. Bodies are left where they fall. In some areas, scavengers appear people desperate enough to enter contaminated zones for food, medicine, or valuables. They will be dead within weeks. They do not care. Survival is measured in hours now, not years. The international response fractures. Germany advocates for restraint. Poland demands retaliation. France mobilizes its nuclear arsenal, but remains publicly neutral. The United Kingdom pledges support for any NATO decision, but privately, Prime Minister instructs military planners to prepare for independent action. The alliance is splintering under the weight of an impossible choice. In the affected zones, communication is nearly impossible. Cell networks are destroyed. Landlines are severed. Shortwave radios become the only link to the outside world. People huddle around battery-powered receivers, listening to foreign broadcasts in languages they do not understand. The message is always the same. Stay inside. Avoid contaminated areas. Help is coming. Help does not come. By evening on the third day, the first riots begin. In Krakow, crowds storm government buildings demanding evacuation. Police respond with tear gas. The crowd does not disperse. In Wrocław, looters break into pharmacies and medical clinics. Gunshots are heard. Authorities impose curfews that no one enforces. The rule of law is an abstraction. Survival is the only law that matters. Across Europe, the psychological toll becomes visible. Suicide hotlines are overwhelmed. Mental health services collapse. People stop sleeping. Children stop speaking. The trauma is collective and invisible, seeping into every corner of daily life. Even those far from the blast zone feel it. The knowledge that everything changed, that the world is no longer safe, that the future is uncertain. It is a wound that will not heal. The United States announces a humanitarian airlift. Transport planes will deliver supplies to Poland, bypassing contaminated zones. The first flights depart from Ramstein Air Base in Germany. They carry iodine tablets, medical equipment, food, and water. It is a gesture, a symbol of solidarity. It is not enough. It will never be enough. 72 hours after the strike, the world exists in a state of suspended catastrophe. No further missiles have launched. No new cities have burned, but nothing feels stable. The detonation over Zamość was not the beginning of a war. It was the end of an illusion, the illusion that nuclear weapons were relics, that deterrence was permanent, that the world had moved beyond such horrors. Europe is now divided. The contaminated zones are sealed. The refugees are scattered. The dead are uncounted. Governments make promises they cannot keep. People wait for answers that do not come. The skies above Poland glow faintly at night, lit by particles of dust that used to be homes, schools, and lives. In the command centers beneath mountains and oceans, military officers stare at screens. Launch codes are ready. Targets are locked. The machinery of annihilation is primed. But no order is given, not yet. The decision to destroy the world is too terrible to make, even when the world feels already destroyed. The first 72 hours did not end humanity. They revealed how fragile humanity's survival truly is. They showed that civilization is not a fact, but a choice, one that must be made again and again, even when every instinct screams for vengeance, for action, for an end to the unbearable tension. And so the world waits. The fourth day will come, and the fifth, and the question remains unanswered. Will restraint hold? Or will the next 72 hours be the last 72 hours anyone ever knows?